Alright, what's up, guys? Today we are going to open a new bag, but it's an old coffee. We have the Sumatra blend, the one that I used to get most frequently with the K cups. Now, I find it interesting and unique because it's a fun little parallel as we're going back to the routine coffee while also going back to a more normal routine, you know? For like the past 2 weeks, things have been kind of interesting, you know? We did the whole 5 hour discussion about sexual abuse and all that, and then this past week was basically entirely dedicated to the subathon, which went great. By the way, guys, I didn't manage to just do 24 hours straight like I hoped I'd be able to. Uh, Either I'm getting old or my health and energy levels just aren't what they used to be. Maybe it's a little bit of both. But I ended up starting Monday. We didn't do it because we had, I can't get this open. We had some technical difficulties that I needed to solve. By the time I got them solved, it was way too late, and I didn't want to start and then just immediately end. Tuesday, we got the stream started, but then I basically immediately ended because I was having a migraine. I had been considering doing the. Holy shit, this is a pain to get open. I had been considering doing the. There we go. Whole like bring a cot down into the studio and sleep on it and go into the I'm only sleeping category and Twitch, but I didn't want to do that for two reasons. One, I think that shit's weird. Three reasons. Well, number one is I think that shit's weird. Number two, and like partially also number one, I say weird shit when I'm sleeping. Apparently, once I sang the entire Macarena in my sleep when I was staying over at a friend's house. I didn't even know there were words to the Macarena, so how the fuck would I sing that, right? Or what the words are. So I don't like trust me not saying something while I'm sleeping on stream that wouldn't get me banned. Two, I just had a really bad headache, so I wanted to make sure I got good actual sleep on a real bed so I could wake up the next day and pick the stream back up and do content. And three is because I didn't want to rob my viewers, you know? It felt like when people do like subathons and they spend 10 hours of their 24-hour subathon sleeping, it kind of feels like cheating to me, you know? Like, 1 second. I gotta count this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. So I'll finish that and then I'll read this while it's brewing. But even though we've read this one before, I'm sure we haven't read the bag before. Maybe the bag's different than the Keurigs. The third reason is because it kind of feels like cheating. Not necessarily cheating. I mean, I guess it's just cheating in general. Like a 24-hour subathon where you're only streaming for 2/3 of it, but also it's like cheating the viewers, you know? People are subscribing for content, not for fucking sleeping. So I didn't want to do a subathon that I was gonna sleep through. So what we ended up doing was spreading it across 3 days. I think we went for like 4 or 5 hours the first day, and then we went for 10 hours the next 2 days. And I kept the stream on the entire time. I just paused it, the timer, when I went to sleep and put up like a I'll be back when I wake up video. So, or scene. So this is what it says right here. That's not the right size. This is the right side. It is a very, very dark, as dark as it can get, but it doesn't sit heavy like other dark coffees. You know, other dark coffees, I feel like they're like a lot of dark beers where you get to the end of it and you're like, man, I've got 3 sips left and I don't know if I can finish them. I definitely can't have another one of these. This Sumatra blend, assuming it tastes like it does in the K-Cup, is I can just drink this forever. It's incredible. And it's one of the few things that I almost never put any cream in. Never put any sugar in. I always put cream in it. It says complex and earthy. This complex coffee blend offers an earthy array of flavors, including hints of spices, molasses, and herbal notes. It offers a well-rounded body that finishes clean. And that's true, it does finish clean. For how dark this coffee is, it's one of the smoothest coffees out there. It's very sweet, and I just love a good Sumatra blend. It's one of my favorite types. Now, what I want to talk about today as our discussion, and I know I'm kind of late because technically it's already a day into it, but I also didn't expect the subathon to go this long. One, I didn't expect it to be delayed by a day, and two, I was kind of hoping even if I had to split it, I could do it in 2 days instead of 3 days, but the migraine fucked me up. But yeah, don't go to Twitchcon. And I want to say, even though we're a day late and TwitchCon day 1's already over, specifically, probably don't go to day 2. And there's 2 reasons for this. The first one is because I'm worried that it might be dangerous. And I will break all that down once I actually have the cup of coffee. But suffice it to say, I think TwitchCon is a target for bad actors, at least a potential target. The second reason, which I'll go through now because it's a little bit simpler and straightforward, is Twitch sucks now. And I think most people, even the people that have been longtime supporters of it, that have loved it for many years, like myself, can agree that it's really, really going downhill. It's just going in the wrong direction. So I think going to TwitchCon, giving them all this money, and supporting them is the wrong idea because they're not going to change as long as you keep filling up their pocketbooks, you know? So I would say, personally, if you were thinking of going and haven't gone yet, haven't purchased your ticket yet, don't go to TwitchCon. Don't give them that money because they don't deserve it, you know? I don't ever go to TwitchCon, nor do I really plan on ever going, but that's mostly because I don't want to go to California. I don't want to be in California, like, ever. There's really only 2 scenarios in which I'd ever be in California. So there was a while, though, where I was like, especially when I was more active and trying to push for a partner back in 2019, where I wanted a TwitchCon East Coast to be a thing, you know? But these days, I wouldn't even go to that. Just because I don't feel like they deserve to have me there, and they don't deserve to have you there either, right? Twitch needs to get their shit together, and I think we need to stop supporting them through things like TwitchCon and Twitch merch. I have a Twitch hoodie that I still wear, but I'm probably never gonna buy a new Twitch hoodie at this point. And the only reason I still stream on Twitch at all is because most of my viewers are still there, right? I stream every time I stream on both Kick and Twitch now. And whenever people complain about the shitty Twitch experience, I'm just like, well, I'm live on Kick too. There's no ads on Kick or whatever. And I think, well, Kick definitely has its issues. It's in a much better place than Twitch right now. I gotta go downstairs to get the milk because I'm out of half and half, and there's milk in the mini fridge from all the cereal I eat. But so I think in general we should stop going to TwitchCon, stop buying Twitch merch, stop doing all that extra stuff beyond it just being a platform to communicate with each other until they get their shit together, you know? I get that some people won't understand me saying this the day after a subathon, which went great, by the way, because, you know, people would say there's like a conflict of interest due to a profit incentive. I am not big enough on Twitch for that to really have any kind of serious effect on my income. It's like maybe I can buy myself dinner sometime this week at a restaurant because of the money I made from that subathon. Maybe. It's like I can probably afford a Baconator or two, but I'm not going to spend that money on that anyways because, you know, I need to buy toilet paper and things. So, Twitch made more money off the subathon than I did. And the only reason I did the subathon in the first place was because I wanted to thank my Twitch followers for existing, right? I was creating the content for them there. If there weren't people on Twitch that I wanted to see the content, I wouldn't be streaming there. So I don't know if that nuance will be lost on people. I'm sure most people won't get it. But the point is, don't do extra for Twitch. Don't go to TwitchCon. At least for me, this is my mentality. I'm not saying you need to do this. Don't do extra for Twitch until they get to their shit together, until they right the ship. Don't buy Twitch merch. Don't go to TwitchCon. Don't participate in Twitch Rivals events or anything like that. I'm still going to be streaming on Twitch every Sunday through Thursday night, but I'm also streaming on Kick, and I'd really prefer that you watch there, 100%. Now the other one, the more interesting, deeper one that takes a little bit more explaining. It's also more deeper than just don't go to TwitchCon. It's basically don't go outside. And this is if you care about your physical health, right? And there are specific, again, nuance to this. So, what do I mean by don't go outside? I mean, don't go to big, well advertised events because we haven't seen the last of the politically motivated violence in this country. And I think the next thing that happens is going to be worse. Now, why do I say TwitchCon specifically? I say don't go to TwitchCon specifically and the Saturday day specifically because I think there is a big old target on Twitch's back right now. I think there is a double-digit percentage likelihood that something happens over the weekend at TwitchCon, partially as a response to Charlie Kirk. I don't know if it's above 50% in my mind, but it's in the double digits at the very least. And personally, I don't know about you, but if someone told me there were even a 10% chance of a mass shooting happening at TwitchCon, I would be like, so I'm not going to TwitchCon this year, you know? And I think a lot of people realize that too, because I check Twitter about once or twice a day, and there has been a lot of sentiment from streamer Twitter that people weren't going to TwitchCon because they feared for their safety. And I think that's a very reasonable take, you know, especially because we have this big issue where we've been seeing all this political violence from the left, the attacking of Tesla owners, the Charlie Kirk assassination, Hassan shocking the shit out of his dog. I'm kidding, kind of, but also there's a lot more I could say about that, right? Allegedly. We don't know if it was actually a shot caller or not, but oh my God, there's so much I could say about it. I'm sick of hearing about it, which is why I haven't talked about it much, but there's a lot I could say about that. The point is, Hassan is important in this context of the video because Twitch has kind of become the streaming platform for extreme violent leftists. And he's one of the people that promotes that, you know? He literally said, kill Rick Scott, and didn't get banned. He's openly promoted all kinds of political violence, which do not fall under the realm of protected free speech. We could have a whole conversation about what exactly protected free speech is, but there are limits to it. Basically, when you're actively promoting harm of other people, especially when you have a platform like Hassan does, that doesn't really fall into protected free speech, right? So it's become and it would be one thing if Twitch just said, you know what, we are just a free speech platform. We're going to allow these type of discussions because we think to be a place to have them. Okay, I could accept that, but the issue is that's not what's going on. People that are right wing or even just kind of center get banned for saying things that aren't even bad, that are just maybe kind of gross or a little bit objectionable, you know? But aren't likely to lead to the physical harm of someone. So it has become pretty apparent that Twitch is a pro-extreme leftist platform now, and I think that paints a really big target on it for the extreme right wing. Now, for the most part, most of the right has been relatively what word am I looking for? I don't even know what word. They haven't really responded to the violence in kind, to say the least. You know, instead of calling for retribution, they've been saying, hey, this political violence needs to stop. And I do want to say that most of the people in the center and most of the people on the left too, I was surprised to see how many people on the left came out and said, okay, this is taking it too far. But there were also a lot of people, particularly a lot of those political streamers on Twitch, that were celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk. So I am absolutely worried that some extremist right-winger is going to see this as an opportunity to even the score. Because while I said most of the right was like, hey, let's stop this, there were also some of those extreme right-wingers, they were literally, this is war, in all caps. You know, I love Twitter. It's a great place to learn about all kinds of people and everything. And if your Twitter timeline's fucked up, it's probably because of you. You know, it's who you have, it's who you're following really that defines who you see. And there's always some stuff that leaks in there. For example, I follow a lot of other content creators, but I do get the occasional sex worker pretending to be a content creator, because that's just, you know, there's snakes in every garden, to say the least. And but I just mute them. Learn to use the mute button, you know? You can tell because if you click on their profile, there's only like there's three things that you see. There's just retweets of other people. There are links to their Twitch and either links to their adult pages, their passes, or their OnlyFans, or a link me, or whatever that thing is called, with Linktree, which has links to those things. So if it's only retweets and links off platform, just mute them. It's not anyone worth following, not anyone worth seeing in your timeline at all, because they're just a fucking leech, you know? So I'm rambling now, but the point is, I think it's important to be careful going to these large events. And why do I think Saturday? Because that's probably the day that one is most likely to have the largest attendance, and they're probably going to go for the maximum damage possible. And two, it's most likely to be the day where a shooter would have off work. Now, why is work important? Well, it's because unlike Democrats, Republicans actually have jobs. No, I'm kidding. I'm being facetious there. But I did study political science in college, and it's not really about political ideology. It's about math. It's statistics and demographics. And these are how different types of people think and why they vote this way, and how you get them to vote the way you want them to get them to vote. I kind of fucked up the last part of that sentence, but you guys get the picture. Um, so one of the things that is pretty common is that um, extreme right-wingers are generally more organized and work traditional jobs, whereas extreme leftists are more likely to be like starving artist type people. So, why do I think it's going to happen on Saturday and not Friday? Well, because a large portion of people who would be considering doing that thing were probably working Friday. And second, because being more organized and more A-type personality where they plan things out instead of just firing from the hip, so to speak, I think they would be more likely to target Saturday or Sunday due to the larger potential of people being there. Now, whether Saturday or Sunday is the more likely target, I don't know. There's probably issues too where it's likely that someone would be doing that would be from a different state, or definitely more from the rural areas of California, because there's some hardcore right-wingers in rural California. It's a big state. So there's likely travel time involved, and then they might be setting up and scoping security and things like that. But my whole point is, I don't think it's safe to go to Twitchcon right now with all the political violence out there. And just in general, I don't think it's safe to go to any kind of large, highly publicized event like that. Like, I wouldn't go to the Super Bowl. I wouldn't go to anything that has a lot of cameras and media personalities at it right now, simply because political violence is getting crazy. And not only is a lot of it in this like right wing versus left wing type vein where you have Twitch being a pretty obviously left wing platform, is going to be an obvious target for extreme right wingers. It's also in this very anti elite mentality right now. Like, I could see something like the Grammys being targeted too, where you're gonna have lots of the upper class there, the American nobility, you know? So I think the best thing you can do if you care about yourself and your loved ones is to stay away from events like that from the time being. Now, I'm not saying don't go outside and go for a hike in nature. Don't go outside and go to the grocery store. In fact, I probably need to do that once I finish this video. I need to get more half and half, so I'm not just using all my milk in my coffee. But I'd also say I have mixed feelings about other kinds of social events, right? Just doing something like going to the store or going for a walk by yourself or with some friends, sure, you're probably fine to do that. I'd say going to any kind of super large public events, terrible idea right now. And as to like middle size events, like something like a community picnic or going to church, I'd say do it, but be careful, you know, because those kinds of things end up being targeted too, primarily for the reason that there's less security, there's less eyes there. But it's important to remember that the vast majority of these mass shooters or political violent activists are cowards, you know? They're not just going to go out and say, yeah, it was me, I did it, this is why. They're going to run away and hide and get caught at a McDonald's. So I think it's really important to protect yourselves and your loved ones. I'm a big supporter of firearms and the Second Amendment, but I understand not everyone feels that way, you know? And the thing about it is it's the right to bear arms, not the requirement to bear arms. However, I do think if you aren't going to carry a firearm, you should probably have a stun gun, a pepper spray, and some kind of blunt object. You should carry all three because they all have their weaknesses in certain situations, and whatever you carry as a weapon for self-defense, you should absolutely know how to use it. One of the biggest issues with a lot of this stuff is people don't know how to use it. I've seen plenty of videos of people macing themselves, or people will draw a gun and shoot their own dick off or something like that. And so absolutely know how to use whatever weapon you're carrying for self-defense. But I do think it is important to be armed because you only get one chance. You know, there's no one-up mushrooms. It's when you hit that game over screen, it's just game over. And it might not be you, it might be someone you care about. I know a lot of people these days kind of have a very nihilistic black pill thing where they're like, well, you know what, if someone takes me out, I'd be better off. But what if it's like your sister or your brother or your mom or your daughter or son? You don't get to choose who gets taken, right? So I'd say if you care about anyone, if you care about yourself, if you care about any individual in the world and you don't want to see them harmed, you need to be ready to go to battle against evil because there's a war going on in the world right now. It's always been going on, but it's really stepping up to new levels that I don't think we've ever seen before. And a lot of it takes place on the internet, which is why I still do this. Sometimes I wonder if there's any point to it. But, you know, then we have moments like the little subathon where a bunch of people showed up and supported. A bunch compared to where I'm at right now, you know. Tiny, infinitesimal numbers by the vast majority of content creator standards. But for me, one was enough, and we got a lot more than one. So I want to thank everyone who showed up to the subathon. You all made it wonderful. And I was going to talk about what kind of content I'm going to go back to, but I've already been going 30 minutes, so this is long enough already. Keep yourselves safe, keep your family safe, and have a good weekend. I'm going to check back in with you guys on Monday, probably. In the meantime, cheers. I love all of you. God bless America.